When I first received the invitation to come and speak at this Parliament here today, I spent a full 30 minutes of my life interrogating whether it was some very niche variety of spam. Maybe it wasn't endeavouring to steal my non-existent life savings, but something was definitely suspicious. It was an actual impossibility that I was supposed to be here. This is a panel filled with brilliant editors and amazing event organisers and writers that have created works of beauty and intellect and a third thing, me. The last piece of writing that I completed was a eulogy that I read at a comedy night called Dirt, that ended with me shoving 7 hot dogs in my mouth and writhing around to a dance remix of Danny Boy. So while I was beating myself up for not being literary enough, it hit me what was wrong with that email. That email had opened what can only be described as a time vortex that threw me all the way back to 2008. Because 10 years ago, I was in my first year of a master's degree, and I was very certain that I knew what literature was. It was books, big books, books that were heavy in every sense of the word, and I clung on to that belief like I had glued it to my hands in a crafternoon gone wrong. There was no convincing me otherwise. I stumbled along trying to write things that looked literary, and it was stiff and it was uncomfortable, and my stories were square pegs that I was trying to jam into a roundish hole that looked a lot like Don DeLillo if you squinted at it. And it was awful. I felt dishonest, and so for a long time I stopped writing. But the thing about living in a city of literature is that you can't escape writing. No matter what community you steep yourself in, slowly but surely you come to realise that you are surrounded by literature. You can fall in love with a turn of phrase in a comedy festival show, you can be awestruck by a panel that's in a comic, you can be brought to tears by a line that's in a game that you play on your phone. And behind every form that's waiting to inspire you, there is lurking a dedicated group of people that are ready to welcome in anyone that wants to give it a go. And so that's what I did. I gave stuff a go. I made comics, I tried to learn how to code, I made work that was flippant and it was full of nonsense, but it felt more honest and serious and worthwhile than anything that I'd made before. Some of the best writers that I know today are improvisers, they're stand-ups, they're sketch comedians, they make comics and video games. Every day I'm excited and inspired by the things that they make. They might not have written some big, important work that's going to live on in the canon, but with each little thing that they make, they create a big, important community that allows more literature to grow. When I think about the literary future of Melbourne, this is what I see. It's an ever-expanding opportunity to explore new forms, new genres, new voices, but also old forms, old genres, old voices that have long been ignored and designated as something lower and lesser. I see a city where the word literature is irrevocably entwined not just with books, but with storytelling in all of its disguises. I see a city where a well-timed fart noise is just as valid as a fat new Franzen book, you know? Over the last 10 years, this city of literature has unfurled before me like a bain-marie at a smorgasbord, teeming with life and always filled with something different and interesting and potentially dangerous. And I, in turn, have embraced that bain-marie, grabbing as many hot dogs as I can fit in my fists and making them a part of me as well as I can. It's a lesson that's taken me decades to learn and relearn again, and it's a lesson that I hope to teach to as many others as I can. When I put 7 hot dogs in my mouth, I am making literature. And I hope that in the next 10 years, Melbourne hands me many more hot dogs so I can cram them gladly in my ever-expanding gob. Thank you.
Visit wheelercentre.com for the best in books, writing and ideas from Melbourne, Australia and the world.